Yo, it's Odyssey Sports and the Bet Las Vegas. And here in Vegas, it's fight weekend, big fights, but it ain't just here in Vegas, ladies and gentlemen. I get excited when we get to talk about some wrestling because this Sunday, the first ever WrestleDream AEW going to be in Seattle. And joining us is a man playing a big part of it. Swerve Strickland joins us. By the way, you can get that pay per view on the Bleacher Report app or your pay per view services. Swerve, first and foremost, thank you for making time. How are you, brother?
I'm good. A busy dude, but I'm good, man.
Hey, we appreciate it. And look, I had plans. I did my research. I'm ready for this interview. And then I go on Twitter yesterday and I see the photo you posted. You and Coach Prime. Can you talk me through that? How was it meeting them and talking to him?
It was good, man. It was a good a connection that we have, like that's helps with AEW, and he actually helps with Deion Sanders selling a lot of his memorabilia and stuff like that. So he was just like, "Oh man, I think we can get some AEW stars." So me, Satnam Singh, and the claim came through. Got to sit in on the practice, watch the practice early in the morning,
Oh, that's dope.
and I got to meet Shador Sanders himself, and then hearing Coach talk to the students, talk to the players, and then Mark Henry motivating them and stuff, especially after the big loss of Oregon. It was really uplifting, and I hope like we had a good, you know, I hope we touched them in a certain way and like gave them a little bit of motivation. And then just going up to meet Prime afterwards was really dope because my cousin used to play on the Cowboys with him back in '96, and he actually remembered my cousin. And he was like, "Oh, that's my older cousin. I actually met you at that time." So it's cool, like little how the universe works and that kind of stuff. So it was a good experience, man.
No, you talk about like how the universe works, and it's cool to me because like for a lot of people, what Dion's doing right now is he's being a disruptor. He's changing the game of college football. When it comes to AEW, I see you in that same light. Like you're changing things up. You've been on a hell of a run, whether it's the promos, the moments, the matches, and of course at Wrestle Dream, you're in a prime time slot. You going up against Adam Hangman Page. How does it feel right now? Like just in general with this run that you've been on.
It feels validating in a lot of ways. This is my first singles match in a pay per view, and it's against one of the biggest dogs in AEW. The history of the company, and we have a lot of differences, but the more that we do these promo battles back and forth, and the more we face to face with each other, and more we like inform the audience, and then like educate one another about each other and what we want and what we're after and what we fight for, the more we're finding we're actually not that different after all. There's a lot more similarities, and we are both very fierce, very hungry for what we want. And the fact that I'm the one that bring that out of Hangman, that means that's a big testament to who I am and what I offer to the company and what like just what I am in general as a performer.
Yeah, and look, AEW has a talented roster, and a few weeks ago, you said something to Adam Hangman Page that kind of stopped wrestling Twitter, and everyone was focused on you and your promo. And personally, I thought it was super important for you to say it in front of the world and bring it up that there hasn't been a Black World Heavyweight Champion in AEW, and we know how minorities have been treated in wrestling and some of the opportunities that they have or haven't gotten. I'm curious for you. With everyone paying attention and seeing that, was there someone that reached out to you that took you by surprise after that promo?
Not necessarily. I remember Bully Ray speaking up, saying like, "We need to see this man on TV a lot more. Like, just get him on TV and let him talk every week." And it's not. My intention wasn't to just shine light on there wasn't a black AEW World Champion. My intention was I want to be the first. That
Yeah.
was the intent, really. And because I know that I can hold that type of responsibility, I know that I do belong in that light, and I have no problem saying it, which is why I call myself sort of the realist. It's something speaking real to the people, but I'm also a realist. I'm realistic, so it's a little double entendre with the meaning of that. So it's just like I'm not afraid, you know. And I think like having a fearless speaker, especially African American, it kind of the the words travel faster and hit a little harder when you're real. It's kind of like Coach Prime. His words travel faster and further, and they hit harder. And especially if you're what you just said. It's kind of feels like it's a disruptor, but it's really not. It's just he's just speaking from the heart, but people are going to take it a little bit more savagely, and it's going to hit a little just like in the right regions a little bit harder, you know. So I draw a lot of inspiration from those kind of things, and especially if you're the first doing any type of changing of any type of system, um, there's a little drawback, there's a little ridicule. So you kind of buck in the system, and you got to pay for it, and you get punished, and then after things start registering and things start profiting and things start moving in the direction that's positive to the system, then they kind of bring you in a little bit. And so I pay attention to those things, and a lot of times I'll just say it because, like, hey, things have been said on television a lot worse. I can speak my piece on something that I do know and something that I live.
No, and it's crazy how, to your point, like me saying disruptor, it's crazy how telling the truth is considered disrupting in a lot of ways. And you bring up some of the setbacks and drawbacks when you are trying to do these things. Obviously, your story, it's been a journey. It just didn't start here at AEW, and there's been a lot of setbacks. And I'm in entertainment, same way, trying to get on this microphone and the things we go through. What has been the one thing that has kept you focused on this path? Because a lot of people ain't built for it, man.
Man, I'm addicted to the the possibility of something. Um, I don't always think everything's going to work. I have an idea. I come up with a lot of ideas. I don't think all of them are going to work. But what if it does? What if this does pay off? What if this does get approved? Like it could fall flat. It could get a reaction, or it could be like, yo, I've never seen something like this before. I feel like that possibility of something just being different and unique and really touching someone, or just giving somebody something new that they haven't seen, now they want more of it. I think the risk is worth that reward. You know what I mean? And so that's where that's honestly that's kind of it. That's what drives me. And when I last night when I said to Hangman Page, like, what motivates me is making an enemy out of someone every single day. That's real. I legit do that, and I got to find something. It's almost like the Tom Brady thing. It's like, did that referee say something to me? Did that guy? What did he mean that? Was that directed at me? Oh, I'm gonna get him this next play. Oh, to watch my second half when I get that ball. Oh, I'm gonna drive it down his throat, and that's what makes him great. It's kind of maniacal. It's kind of like,
It's
I
the
don't know if
MJ
that's good
effect.
for you.
MJ was the same thing. You didn't smile at me, so
Yeah,
now we got a
yeah.
problem.
Now we got a problem. I got to make a problem out of you in order to get my dog in me to come out. You know?
Nah, 100%. And by the way, last night you made a jab at Russell Wilson. I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
appreciated that. I'm sure people in Seattle, your hometown, are gonna appreciate it too. And speaking of that, you brought
Yeah.
up your first singles match on the pay per view for AEW, also in your hometown. Is there more pressure to this, or is this easy? This is home
Oh
cooking.
yeah. There's home cooking right now. I just got to flow. There's pressure, of course, but I don't let the pressure weigh too heavy on me. I feel it's there, but I still got to be like calm, cool, and like treat this like this is like every single day of my life of what I do. I've been doing this 15 years. I don't. It's like riding a bike for 15 years. Just because you got to ride a bike in front of your hometown, don't mean you don't know how to ride a bike. Just go out there and ride your bike, you know. And that's how I always attacked all this.
Was it the same way at All In with that historic crowd?
Yeah, yeah. I had not one nerve in my body because I knew what I was going out there to do, and I truly consider myself really great at what I do. I truly do, and it's not a sin to believe in that. For me to believe that. And I don't think people want to spend money or come see somebody who doesn't believe that. You want to see someone who truly believes that they're great at what they do. You want to go root for, you want to be somebody that believes that they're great at what they do. And I feel like we're in a culture right now that you get really ridiculed for believing in yourself. Everybody wants to get torn down or want to feel as torn down as them. And I think it's a time to uplift and truly believe and truly support.
At the same time, though, have you had a moment since All In specifically, because that was a historic event. It was crazy. I'm upset I didn't go
Mhm.
to kind of soak it in and be like, "Damn, I was a part of that, and I was in a big moment during that."
Yeah, I had to wait till it was over. I had to wait till it was done. I had to wait. I had to look back with friends of mine, with DJ Who Kid, with Flash, my cousin Will. I had to look back with them and be like, "Yo, we did it. We did this. Like we're a part of this." Especially being one of three black people on the entire show.
Mm.
Like I know there's going to be All In next year. It's been announced, but just for the first one, that was big.
No, it truly was. And Swerve Strickland joining us here, the Bet Las Vegas Odyssey Sports as well. WrestleDream October 1st. That's this Sunday. You can get it on Bleacher Report. And you brought up DJ Wu Kid. We're going to get to hip hop here in a second. But one thing I do want to ask you, and honestly, this isn't even me as someone who has a radio show and is lucky enough to do this. This is as a fan. There's been a lot of things that have happened outside of the ring when it comes to AEW. I'm going to say noise. We know what's happened. And to me as a fan, I was upset after All In because of how great that show was and the discussion wasn't on the show. So my question to you as someone a part of AEW and as a talent, is it frustrating at times that sometimes that noise gets talked about more than what's actually going on in the show?
No, because the show happened, and you can't take that away from us. We
Straight up.
performed, and for the 80,000 people that were there and witnessed it, they don't know anything about it. They watched it. They watched it and they experienced it, and then whatever noise that came on that was supposedly backstage, that didn't disrupt their enjoyment of the show, and it didn't disrupt the people watching the show either. And it's people. I feel like who were there were off the phones, living in the moment, and we did everything we could to put on one of the best performances that we could for that show and that time, and to give them something that they're going to live their life with. But I feel like they're going to live the rest of their life remembering that, passing those moments down to their children, to the next children, and they're not going to pass the other stuff down to their children and the next children. That's not what passes on. Like what we did in that ring, that's what happens. That's what goes down as history, and is going to pass it down from generation to generation to generation.
And to be fair, like, and not just because you were on the show or I'm talking to you right now, like, it was that, which is why it gets frustrating because I was like, "Yo, did y'all not just see what we all just watched?" But we'll move on from that and we'll do some quick hitters before we get you out of here. My man, you've been featured on Double XL. You were just at Hot 97. Hip hop is a part of you. I need to know what's in your rotation right now.
Oh man, it came out early this summer, but I'm still bumping it. The K Tronada and Amine, man, that's still a good album.
Wavy.
Utopia, Utopia for sure. I just went to Revolt this weekend in Atlanta, Revolt World, and I was around Diddy in his VIP section. So the Love album is actually in the rotation too.
Way to
So
sell, by the
that's
way. Make sure you say VIP section.
I was definitely in VIP. I wasn't moving. I wasn't moving off the couch if I wasn't going to be in VIP. Um, that uh, man, definitely go make sure you check out Flash Garment's album. He has some good stuff on there with Eric Bellinger. That Ambidextrous 2.0 is fire. Um, my album came out earlier this year in May. You couldn't be me. I got Benny the Butcher featured on there, along with Flash and along with Juice from Flatbush Zombies. That should be in your rotation easily. I'm still going to check out that Doja Cat. I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm going to listen to that
I
as soon
heard
as
it's
I
heavy
can.
hip hop. I heard it's heavy hip hop. She's like, I'm doing this one
Yeah.
my roots. So we'll see.
Oh yeah.
And Swerve, we're gonna close it out with this question right here. Good sir, what do you remember from your first wrestling match ever?
How bad it was, and how worse the gimmick was. Because I was a deacon. I was Deacon Strickland in a tag match because they wanted to make sure I was in good hands in a tag match, not just being thrown out there by myself. But I did the match. I'm like, I could have done this bullshit by myself. What are y'all talking about? So, but yeah, it was memorable. It was crazy because it was at a rec center that a couple years ago. Before I used to go to there to play on the skate park and stuff like that. They had
Yeah.
like a little skate park in the back, and then that was like I was around like 11, 10, 12 years old, and then years later, that's where I had my first match as an adult. So that's kind of like what I still remember.
and years later, you're closing out Dynamite ahead of WrestleDream. You gotta love it. Swerve, it's been a pleasure watching you, and we can't wait to watch on Sunday. Thank you so much for the time.
Appreciate it, fam.